mentally depressed, out-of-work plumber locked inside. 34-year-old Sean Nelson had been a tank crewman in the Army.
What's going on, good people? You see it. Embrace the tank. Embrace the tank. Let me know if I'm good, if the vocals are good, if the visual's good. Let me get a thumbs up. How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody doing? What's going on, Clinton Jones? I see guys in here early. What's good? What's good, people? How we doing? Listen, man, I saw what the lineup looks like. I saw what our lineup looks like. And just to say this, though, just to say this. And I said it before, when you thought we were tanking before, you thought what you saw before was a tank. No, what you're seeing now is a tank. Have you seen the lineup? Especially on the defensive side, have you seen the lineup? Now, this is what tanking really looks like. This is what tanking really looks like. And listen, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Obviously, we got 2 conference championship games going on right now. So I'm not going to be as long as I normally am. But again, the New York Giants versus the New Orleans Saints. In a game that, if you thought it was going to be bad before, now you're looking at it, it looks like it might be even worse. It might be even worse. Shout out to Danny. That's a fact. My man Danny says we sinking like the Titanic movie. That's a fact. And guess what? I'm going down with the ship. And next year we're gonna try it again, and hopefully it's gonna be a lot of new faces on this team. What's going on, Johnny Lovely? Say what up, Dash. What's going on, people? How we doing, man? It's Saturday. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their evening. Hopefully everybody's safe. Hopefully everybody, had a good Thanksgiving last week. Obviously we had the Thanksgiving game, a long 10 days between streams and stuff like that. So hopefully everybody had a good weekend. Hopefully everybody went back to work, or if you do work, had a good week, good week of work too. But let's talk about it already. So I saw the starting corners. We brought up some guys from the practice squad. I saw Stroman and Hawkins and Adoree Jackson as the options that we have at cornerback. So we don't have Phillips. We won't have Tay Banks. And I believe it's up in the air with Flott right now. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. My man said we're not safe. It's the Saints. Listen, man. Did you see the lineup? E-Mac, did you see what our starting defensive tackles are? Chapman and Riley. I believe Nacho is out as well. DJ Davidson might still be banged up too. It is bad. It is bad, but guess what? This is what you have to do. The big picture. The funny thing is, though, and I'm gonna ask you guys this: do you believe? Obviously, the tank is on for sure. No Bobby Okereke either. I saw that it was going to be Muasau and McFadden as the linebackers. I thought there was a chance that Deontay Johnson, who's been, who had a good preseason game, and people had a lot of high hopes. He made the 53. I thought he was going to be able to play, but he's not playing either. It's just bad, man. It's just bad, and you know what? it just is what it is. Thankfully, I got the YouTube package. I'll probably be watching 4 games at once. That way, I'm not stuck just for watching this Giants game. I couldn't do that. Absolutely couldn't do that. Shoot, look to everybody. Shout out to my man Wales. Wales to NJ is in the building. Wales is part of the Big Blue crew. Big Pat, G Nation, those guys over there. So if you're not subscribed to Wales to NJ, make sure you guys go ahead and do that. Now, one thing that Wales does do, he gives you all the fights. Is MMA, boxing. Him and G Nation do a great job talking, contact and combat sports. So shout out to my man Wales is in the building. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. My man Percy Harris, that's right. I've been watching college football all day. Obviously, it's conference championship week, so it's not a lot of games on, but it was some good games on. We got Oregon and Penn State playing right now. I believe the score is 14-10 unless Oregon turned around and score again, because Oregon seems like they can't be stopped. SMU is getting whooped right now by Clemson. Didn't see that one coming, really. We'll see what happens with that. Shows you what happens, man. Like, they, fraud alert when it comes to SMU. I actually had them picked too, man. My parlays were ruined this morning. Just ruined this morning. I almost got one. I needed a field goal. What game was that? The Ohio game, the Ohio versus Miami, Ohio. I had the over at 43.5. They had 41 points, man. All I needed was a field goal. They couldn't give it to me. But it is what it is. Shout out to my family in the building. Tanya says 100. What's going on? Because, yeah, man. Yeah, man. Wells says we're tanking. Makes no sense to win games. Now, that's a fact. But what I was saying was when we first got started, like 2-3 weeks ago, like right after the Carolina game, people thought we were tanking then. I'm like, no, man. This is what tanking looks like. The lineup, like everybody. And I'll see if I can do it here. Just look at the starting lineup. I believe Dan Duggan has it on Twitter. What his predicted offensive line was going to look like. We talking about a Zudu at left tackle and who was it? Hubbard at right tackle. I think. Yeah, it's going to be ugly for Locke tomorrow, man. I don't know what Drew Lock expects to do tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. Then we got the hip flexor news from Malik Neighbors, but I believe he's still playing. Yeah, it's ugly, man. 4 touchdowns for Kamara. You know what? That's what I should have put. I should have put a parlay together, with some of those side bets and stuff like that. And just not betting on the game. That's what I should have did. Because Lord knows this is what it is. Shout out to Christian Torres in the building. Says, "What's up, Dash?" Yeah, Giants stink. Yeah, it's bad, man. It's bad, man. And again, I've been arguing all week. You know what? Let's get right into it, man. So obviously, I put out the video last week about Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. I've been arguing all week with people that don't even want to take a quarterback. Some of you might be in here right now watching. Some people really don't want to take a quarterback. They do not feel that Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward are worthy of a pick that high in the first round. And for me, I disagree with that. But just some of the things that people are saying now, the first thing I would say is this. Yes, of course, the New York Giants have a lot of holes. But when I say that the New York Giants should draft a quarterback, that early in the first round, that does not mean, like, for some people, they feel like you can't address any other position because you drafted a quarterback in the first round. No. Right now, we have 8 picks in this upcoming draft. Most likely going to be 9 picks with the compensatory pick we're going to get awarded for Xavier McKinney. So we're talking about 9 picks in the draft. We're talking about free agency. And we got a little bit of money to spend. We can address a lot of these holes, like just drafting a quarterback number 1, especially when that person is either Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. And I'm a little upset with Shedeur Sanders right now. You guys know how I feel about Shedeur Sanders. I'm high on Shedeur Sanders. I have him as my 1A and Cam Ward as 1B. I'm looking at a dinner that they had in Las Vegas, and Deion Sanders is telling Antonio Pierce to draft his sons, not just Shedeur, both sons. He's like, I need you to do me a favor, draft both my sons. And I'm like, wait a minute, I feel betrayed. I've been putting out all this Shedeur Sanders content out here. Deion don't care. Listen, and I told you guys too, I don't care what Deion says either, because if the New York Giants draft Shedeur Sanders, he got no choice but to come to New York and play. And hopefully he does it willingly. But yeah, man, I thought it was kind of messed up, man. I'm like, damn. And the funny thing about it, when Shedeur Sanders got the Johnny Unitas award, he just got that award, the announcer after Shedeur's speech and he's walking, shaking hands and stuff, the announcer says, and there goes the future quarterback of the New York Giants. You can't make this stuff up. People know what's up, man. People know what's up, and hopefully everybody else knows what's up too, man. Again, shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. My man TP Way the Giants in the building says Peach Dash in the chat. He says, listen, let's not complicate things. Shedeur, Cam, point blank, period. That's what I've been trying to say, man. But again, TP, you see it on Twitter. You be out there. You be in those Twitter streets with me. You see the type of stuff I'll be running into. Some people are wild with some of these comments. It's absolutely wild. But again, I respect everybody's opinion, but I will also debate anybody's opinion if I don't agree with it, respectfully, of course. But yeah, man, it's getting bad though. But yeah, so I was, I want to talk about the Saints game, but it's really not anything to talk about. So instead of really talking about the Saints game, I'll talk about it a little bit. I do think we're going to lose. I do think the Saints beat us. I don't think we have enough firepower on offense or defense to beat the Saints right now. And like you said, somebody pointed out Kamara, Derek Carr coming back, whatever. I'm really not worried about Derek Carr, but that defense can play. The Saints defense can play pretty well. But I want to talk about, and I want to get people's opinions, since it's a small room today. We got 37 people in the building. We can talk about some things now. outside of the quarterback, there's a couple of positions that I think are worthy of a first round pick and that high. Again, I was going to do a video about this, but you know what? I'm talking to you guys. You guys are family, so we could talk about it. So, like I said, the New York Giants right now have a top 3 pick. We got a 99% chance of having a top 10 pick, 88% chance of having a top 5 pick. So we're going to be picking high. So if we don't stay where we're at, we're definitely going to be picking top 5, in my opinion, if everything pretty much stands the way that it's standing right now. When I think about the other positions, that are worthy of a pick that high, there's only 2 positions. It's going to be defensive line and it's going to be cornerback, because there's only 3 players. There's only 3 other outside of the quarterback. There's only 3 other players that I would draft for the top 5 pick. Travis Hunter is one of them. Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan, is another. And then Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, is the only 3 guys that I will pick top 5 that are not quarterbacks, like, in all honesty. And if the New York Giants aren't sold on the quarterbacks or those 3 guys, then you got to trade back and get more picks. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So let me know what you guys think about that, man. As far as positions of need outside of the quarterback, we can have this conversation. But who do you think? Who do you guys like? Some of you guys watch college football. I know that. But what do you guys think about that? Cornerback and defensive line are the only two positions that I would pick in the top 5. Now, if we drop to the top 10, then it gets a little bit different. I still feel the same way, but to me, and this is early. We're talking about, we're super early when it comes to draft talk. The top guys, they got a couple of offensive linemen, which I don't think would take an offensive lineman that high. We need some offensive lineman depth for sure, but I don't believe we take an offensive lineman in the first round at all. You got a couple of D tackles you can spread around throughout the first round, but to me, it got to be either the cornerback or Mason Graham. Travis, okay, I'll put it in order. For me, this is my order. This is my order for almost messed up off the bat. Shedeur Sanders is my number 1. Cam Ward is number 2. Travis Hunter is number 3. Will Johnson, and then Mason Graham. That'll be my top 5 guys. If I had a big board, a big board, those would be my top 5 guys, knowing where we're picking at right now. What's going on, Mickey X? Mickey X is in the building. Make sure you hit that like button again. So let me see what some of you guys are saying. My man Derek Jones says the Michigan tackle is a very good player. I watched highlights the other day. Yeah, now he can play. Now he can absolutely play. Mason Graham, I like the motor. Strong guy too, plays with good leverage. Shout out to Luann in the building. Says Travis Hunter plays cornerback, but I like him at wide receiver, so he'll play both. Laugh out loud. That's another discussion with a lot of people. Just because he played it in college at the level that he did doesn't mean that you'll get that same production, in the NFL. And that's not a knock, because these guys, I mean, I'm not going to knock and say you can't do it. A lot of people are already saying that, they don't expect him to play both ways. I expect him to be a cornerback. That's what I expect him to be, a cornerback. I don't expect him to be a full-time wide receiver, but I do expect him to get some snaps on offense wherever he goes. That's not just for the Giants. That's wherever that man goes. He's too talented to not be on the field on offense, but I believe he's just a full-time cornerback, and then he'll spell some people when it comes to wide receivers, unless I'm just wrong and he blows me out the water. Pause. Let's see. Emac says, cornerback, we need a new bank because I'm tired of being open every week. And that's a fact. That's a fact. The bank's been open all year on every Sunday. The bank was open on the bank was even open on Thanksgiving. My man TP Way says Travis Hunter. He said he's too talented to ignore generational talent. I just need him to stay in the gym or to stay with his girl in peace. I need him to stay in the diner. I need him to eat a little bit. Like, he's light. 6'1", about 185 pounds, and that's me being nice. Maybe he's 185 pounds. You know how they do. They always boost the numbers up when it comes to college. He actually might be 175 pounds. I mean, when you look at him, he's thin. He's a dynamic player. I will call him generational as well. I will call him that. Fighters Destiny says big dash, big board coming soon. I might do something like that, man. I might put out a video with just my big board. I won't go 50 deep. A lot of people go 50 deep. I'm not that. I don't get paid to be an analyst. I do watch a lot of football though. I might do like a top 25. That's a great idea though. Thank you for that. That might be something I look into. Okay. All right. Let's see. Hunter is a good wide receiver. No, he is. He is a good wide receiver. Luann doubling down. I want Hunter. I don't want a quarterback. Luann, I seen you in a couple spots too, Luann, because you know, like me, I'm also a consumer of Giants content, especially on YouTube. I make my own, but I also consume a lot of it. And I see you, Luann. You be in a lot of places talking, and I see you. I see you. And you're big on that, and you consistent on that, and I appreciate that. Like I said, when you believe in something, you stand on it. That's what's up. Shout out to King D. King D, what's going on, man? What's going on, man? You know why I said that. What's going on, man? Shout out to King D. King D Pulse is crazy. I appreciate you, man, because you be in the comment section. You're a true warrior in the comment section for sure, man. Shout out to you. He says, now if you're talking about a quarterback till I'll flip a quarterback, I'll take Ward first. Okay. I like it. Listen, I like Cam Ward. Listen, I'm a big fan of Shedeur Sanders, but also Ward is right there for me. I will say this: when it comes to MetLife Stadium with the wind and things like that, I do believe, I know for a fact that Cam Ward's arm is stronger than Shedeur Sanders. I do like the arm angles that Ward uses. I like that he's able to throw on a lot of different platforms. And when you're running for your life, and he could be possibly running for his life, he probably needs to use all those skills that he has, throwing off platform, different arm angles, and all of that until we get this offensive line fixed. So listen, I like Cam Ward too. I'm not mad at that at all, man. I'm not mad at that at all. Now that's a fact, Mickey X. Luann is Pat. Yeah. Nah, a lot of you guys are though. Everybody in here, really. I see y'all in the comment section, man. Y'all be going crazy, and not just during the streams. I'm talking about, like, again, I watch a lot of content creators, man. A lot of Giants content creators, man. And like I said, I appreciate all the information that's out there. I'm just saying, I see y'all guys. When y'all talking, you don't think anybody looking at you or anybody's watching, I see you. I see everything. That's a fact. Thank you, Mickey X. Hit that like button for sure. For sure, man. Another thing I wanted to discuss is this, right? Since we're talking about next year a little bit, I put out a comment that I said, you know what, with the draft history that Joe Schoen has, or the New York Giants have, I would rather buy an offensive line than draft one. How do you guys feel about that? Because we got some money to play with. If we can draft our specials, if we can draft the specials, and save money that way, I will buy an offensive line. Well, now looking at the offensive line right now, Andrew Thomas is Andrew Thomas. He's in here for the long run. Neil, don't know what he is really. I'm not sold at all. Illuminor, only one more year on his deal. JMS got some improving to do. Van Roten, 1 year deal. Runyon, 3-year deal. So, like I said, we still got some time to address the offensive line, but you can't wait too much longer. Now, and to me, Illuminor, when healthy, is fine at right tackle. I'm fine with him at right tackle. Van Roten actually had a pretty good season before he went. Well, not before he got hurt, but before the team started suffering. I'm looking at that like you definitely need a swing tackle. You definitely need some backup guards. I don't think Stinney stays because I know he had a 1-year deal too, and he's not getting any run at all. But you got to think about the interior offensive line. We need a backup center as well, but we definitely need a swing tackle. And I don't trust Evan Neal because look, Evan Neal didn't even start this year, and he still couldn't stay healthy as a bench player. So what are we doing right now? That's a fact, TP. I will buy the offensive line. I'm telling you, we don't got time like that. I'm trying to win the Super Bowl soon, man. If we're going to get a rookie quarterback, go ahead and buy an offensive line and get this thing going the right way, man. You got to spend that money somewhere. Just think about it. The wide receiver room is pretty much set. Running back room is pretty much set for right now. And it doesn't cost you a high draft pick to get a running back. Defensive line with Dexter Lawrence, that's another thing too. Maybe I buy a defensive line too. So I know because this draft is pretty deep when it comes to defensive tackle. So I definitely think we can get a defensive tackle in this draft. And I also think we can double dip at defensive tackle in this draft. The cornerbacks go about 3 rounds deep where you got some good quality cornerbacks. And you can even, like, I like Jabbar Muhammad. He's playing right now for Oregon. He's on right now playing for Oregon. I like him a lot. I think I like him more than a lot of other scouts or analysts out there. They got him right now as pretty much a day 3 pick. And I like the value of him being a day 3 pick. But again, You see me, I turn into a nerd when we start talking this draft stuff, man. Let me get back to these comments. He said Arch Manning will be amazing with the New York Giants. Danny. I understand. And I like Arch Manning. I didn't like what they did with him today, though. You see, what did he get? 2 snaps today? 1 snap today? I don't like that Texas game. For anybody, hopefully you guys were watching that Texas game, Texas versus Georgia. They getting like Arch Manning really didn't play, and Ewers did not have the best game by far. They get into overtime in the very first play of the game. The very first play of overtime, Arch Manning is in there doing a quarterback draw. And almost every time I've seen since Ewers has come back, every time I see Arch playing, he's running the ball. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And when we get to the college playoffs, I want to see what Steve Sarkisian does at the quarterback position, because the way that Ewers played, you're not winning a championship like that. And I understand that's Georgia, but this ain't a big year for Georgia. Was down this year. This ain't the best Georgia team we've seen in a while. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm throwing Arch Manning in there. Let him get the playoff experience. If Ewers Ewers has no choice but to enter the draft. Let him enter the draft early or something like that. I want to see Arch Manning. Now I don't want to wait 2 years for Arch Manning, because that's another. You know what? Let's go ahead and get to that. I'm jumping around a little bit. Let's get into that. The March for Arch Manning, right? And that's another video I saw it, and I'm pretty sure everybody has seen it now. It was a video of Grandpa Arch Manning. Archie Manning it looked like a sports bar, something like that. He was definitely at the bar, sitting at a table. Somebody came up to him, asked him a couple of questions about Arch Manning, and he said, "You know what? Where do you want Arch Manning to go?" And he said, "Well, first, I definitely want him to play at least 2 more years at Texas," is what he said. And I've been arguing with people all week. Not even all week, for a long time. The Mannings graduate. That's number 1 on their list. They're not worried about getting to the NFL as fast as possible. Peyton did it. Eli did it. They do all 4 years of college for the most part. Now, if Arch Manning decides to graduate early, that's one thing. But I keep telling people, don't expect to see Arch Manning before 2027. He's not coming out in 2026. And just seeing his grandfather say that, I'm like, yeah, that pretty much proves it to me. Again, we'll see what happens. But don't expect Arch Manning. If you're willing to wait 2 more years for Arch Manning, I don't know what to say to you, man. And listen, I think he's going to be fantastic in college. He's already flashed. But I can't wait 2 years for Arch Manning. But also, Archie Manning said that he would like to see his grandson play for the Dallas Cowboys. Almost fell out my seat. The Dallas Cowboys is where he wants to see Arch Manning play. And I don't know if there's some type of connection with Jerry Jones and Archie Manning, Grandpa Arch, but come on, bro. Come on. So I got Shedeur Sanders in Las Vegas at a dinner with Antonio Pierce and Dion talking about draft both my sons. And then I got Archie Manning saying that he wants Arch Manning to play for the Dallas Cowboys. You know what? Maybe I'm fully on the Cam Ward train right now. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm going to go off. Maybe I'll focus 100% on Cam Ward to try to get that campaign going. But let me see what guys are talking about. I saw my man Clinton. Clinton says we need to send a listen, man. I was one of the loudest people when it came to drafting John Michael Schmitz. And boy, oh boy, it looks like I was dead wrong. Now, he's okay. John Michael Schmitz is okay, but he is nowhere near what I thought he was going to be. His rookie year, I thought maybe because he had trash next to him at guards, that if he went and got, we went and got some, better guys to play next to him, he would play better. And we actually saw that a little bit in the beginning of the season. Now, a lot of people talk trash about this offensive line, rightfully so. But I can't forget, man, I'm old enough to remember that in the first couple of games of this season, our offensive line was playing pretty well, to the point where it was ranked high and this, that, and obviously things fall apart. But I'm old enough to remember that the beginning of the season, and a lot of people, patting Carmen Brasillo on his back, talking about what a good job he's done with the offensive line so far. So, I mean, listen, but back to the main point, I do think we need to pick up another center, add some competition for John Michael Schmitz because he needs to know that his job is just not safe or guaranteed to him. That's how I feel about almost anybody. And the crazy thing about it is I'm looking at Andrew Thomas with the side eye now, and I'm not talking bad about him, but I'm just with the injury stuff. I got to think about insurance with Andrew Thomas. This is how many years in a row that he's been placed on IR for a certain portion of the year. I got to start thinking about things like that. And we just paid him a lot of money, and we have him for a lot more years. I need some insurance behind him, and Evan Neal is not the insurance. I need insurance for Evan Neal too. Like, come on, man. What are we doing? My man E-Mac says, to be honest, we broke down the moment Andrew went down. Get another AT right tackle, and we maybe in a great position at center. The beginning of the season showed that. Yeah, no, I hear you. I like I said, we do need to back that up. We need pause. Wow. We do need to get that swing tackle is definitely a point of emphasis going into the 2025 season. And like I said, center guard. Right now, Zudu should not be on the roster in 2025. Who else is here? Again, we're already going to lose Stinney because his thing is up. Van Roten is on a 1-year deal. We're going to need to revamp this offensive line already. And for the people that love Joe Schoen so much, he fixed the offensive line last year, and then we got to turn around and possibly bring in another 4 offensive linemen this year for something that supposedly he already fixed. No. Mickey X says Georgia looks real unbeatable. What? Oregon looks real unbeatable right now. Actually, somebody give me the update on that game, the Penn State-Oregon game. Let me know what that score is. TP Wade says, once Ewers threw that pick, Art should have been marched. Yeah, he should have been marched. That's what I thought, man. That interception was bad. The one off to the right side of the sideline, it was bad. On your own part of the field, too, bad. Shout out to my man, Joseph Wilcox in the building. He says, what's up, young man? He said, what is up with this Arch Manning? He has not proven anything yet. It's all Manning hype for sure. If the G-men win a couple and do not get pick 1 or 2, how about Trevor Lawrence and his contract? No, sir. No, sir. And I say this because when I look at Trevor Lawrence, he has weapons. He has a decent offensive line, and they're still losing. Now, we might blame everything on Doug Peterson, but Doug Peterson did win a Super Bowl not too long ago. You know, he is a good caliber coach. What's the issues going on in Jacksonville? They just paid him, so obviously Trevor Lawrence is not going anywhere. That's a lot of money, and we just got out of a bad contract. For me, I would like to start fresh and get our own quarterback and groom him from scratch. That's how I feel about it, Joseph. Appreciate the comments. Oregon looks legit. That's a fact, Mickey. What's going on, Jose? Yeah, he wants to go to Dallas. He said disgusting. Yeah. That's Penn State touchdown. Okay. So what's the score now? Let me get caught up, see if somebody put the score in there. Okay, 28-17 Oregon. Appreciate you. SMU was lost. Yeah, it's crazy. I would much rather have seen Miami in that conference game, but they had one more loss in conference than Clemson did. And it is what it is. We saw Clemson. But I would have loved to see Miami. And the crazy thing about that, too, is Miami was in the college playoff a week ago, and now we won't see them at all. But you know what would be fantastic? What if we saw Miami and Colorado in a bowl game? How would you guys like that? Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders head-to-head. I would love to see that. And that's something that could possibly be possible, given their rankings right now. Was it Ramdre? 81 says, I get the Manning ties, but folks act like Arch is supposed to fulfill some kind of prophecy for the Giants. Ramdre, you didn't know? That's Aegon Targaryen. That's Jon Snow, the prince that was promised. That's how they feel about Arch Manning. That's who he is. Aegon Targaryen. Hopefully you guys watch Game of Thrones and get the joke. I hope so. I don't want to be the only nerd in here watching Game of Thrones for sure. Hopefully you guys get the joke. The prince that was promised, Aegon Targaryen. Arch Manning, Jon Snow, King of the North, whatever, all those things, whatever you want to call them. My man Jose says, I really want Mason Graham. I really want a dance partner with Dex, period. Mason Graham would be fantastic. Eye on the prize, I got to keep it the quarterback. But Mason Graham would be fantastic to put next to Dexter Lawrence. And with that being said, I'll talk about some of these other guys, though, right? Again, when you're looking at these defensive tackles, this is a deep class of defensive tackles. You're going to see a lot of these guys go in the first and the second round for sure. Now, when you get into the third or the fourth round, it's a fall off. Like Mason Graham is A+++ defensive tackle. But then you got guys like Talik Williams. You got guys like what's the kid from you got Grant from Michigan as well. You got TJ Sanders. You got in the second round, you got guys like Deion Walker. It's deep. It's deep. I act like I don't have my notebook sitting here in the studio with me. So when it comes to, I got my whole list right here. So Mason Graham, Walter Nolan from Ole Miss is another one. TJ Sanders is another one. Kenneth Grant, Talik Williams, Alfred Collins from Texas is another one. Deion Walker, that dude is a freak of nature. And the last guy I had like a third round pick is like Deontay Copert, stuff like that. So I keep my list and stuff, of guys that I want to watch playing now. We're wrapping up this college season. Definitely want to go back and watch some more cut-ups of these guys that are playing. Man. Luann says, what do you think about getting Sam Darnold? I don't think the Vikings let Sam Darnold out the building. It will be, I think it'll be dumb for them to do that. JJ McCarthy's coming back off an injury. You have a guy like Sam Darnold in the building. I don't think he's going to break the bank. He will cost you a little bit more money for sure, but he already knows the system. You've already been successful with him. It does not make any sense for you to not re-sign Sam Darnold. And hopefully Sam Darnold understands that. Now, if Sam Darnold just doesn't want to be a Viking anymore because he knows eventually, because he's still a young guy, a young player, and he knows, not young, but young enough, he's still got some years left. If he has understanding that eventually it's going to be JJ McCarthy's team, then that should be, that should work pretty well. But if he feels like, you know what, this year is not an anomaly, I got some juice, let me go somewhere else and prove that I can be the guy somewhere else, then you might see that. You might see Sam Darnold leave. But if I'm the Vikings, I'll make it a priority to try to re-sign Sam Darnold to like a 2-year deal, most likely, because you already got JJ for this season is a wash, but you got him for 4 more seasons with the what's it called when they pick it up? The 5th-year option. They can still pick up the 5th-year option if they want to, with JJ being that he's the first-round pick. So you can still let him sit for Darnold for another year. See how you feel about it. Maybe you re-up Darnold for 1 season too. It just depends on what you want to do. But if I'm the Vikings, I'm not letting Sam Darnold leave that building. No. And walk into the next year with just JJ McCarthy with all these question marks, I couldn't do it. Not me. But we'll see what happens. Said they all get paid, they hurt. Who you talking about? They all get paid and they hurt. Oh, you talking about some of those players? No, I hear you. My man King D says Colorado versus you would love to see that. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, and that's something it's not like that's far-fetched. Now, I think Colorado's defense and Colorado's offensive line and Miami's defense isn't that good. I believe it would be some type of shootout, but I think Miami can beat Colorado though. Just the caliber of players that they have on the roster. Now, next year, Colorado on that roster is going to look a lot different. Now that they had some success, you're starting to see they're starting to get some of these signees, some of these 4-star, 3-star athletes are coming to Colorado now, and we'll see what happens. But right now, I think that that's the handy dandy notebook. That's a fact, cuz I keep the hand. I got a couple of them on me too. You saw that one. I got my other one here too. So I keep a handy dandy notebook for sure. I'm old school with a lot of people put their notes in their phones. I can't do it. I still text with 1 hand. I see people do it with 2 hands. I can't do it. I'm old. Man. What we got going on? Ramondre said I will re-sign GBR. He's getting old, but he hasn't been. Yeah, he doesn't look like he lost a step. He's played fine this year. 1 year deal again. That's what we could afford. We got a lot more money to play with this year. So I wouldn't mind bringing him back either. It's all about if he wants to come back. It's been a hard season. Like players when you're that old, and if you're that old and you've done well for yourself and you know what, you made good investments and stuff like that, then you can walk away. You don't want to be on a team that's just bad and losing if you don't need the money. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, he's an offensive lineman, played a lot of years. Hopefully he made some good investments. If he doesn't want to be here because his team, or he doesn't believe in the direction that this team is going, then we'll see what happens. And that's another reason why I want to figure out as soon as possible what they're going to do with Joe Schoen and Brian Dable. I think that'll help with a lot of players. I think once we get to the end of the season officially, and we get to like Black Monday and stuff like that, I don't want this decision to linger. Like the last game of the season, that Sunday is fine. That Monday, I either need to know that these guys are staying or if they're actually getting fired and moving on. Like it doesn't need to drag to like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. No, because you're already going to have these teams that have already fired their coaches. They're going to get a head start on us. And we need to figure this thing out, man. So if John Murray decides to keep these guys in place, I need to know that right away. And I think the players deserve to know right away too. Man, Joseph Wilcox said, if we don't get Sanders or Ward, how about Fields? It's funny. You guys know that my wife is a big Steelers fan. And she really likes Fields. She likes Russell Wilson. And it's funny too, because when Fields started the season, and my wife really didn't. She really didn't like the fact that they picked up Russell Wilson at first. And she loves Russell Wilson now, but at first, because she was like, they got rid of Kenny Pickett, they got Justin Fields. She just wanted the quarterback situation settled. She didn't like how it was going back and forth, this, that, and the third. And Justin Fields was in there and they were winning games. But obviously, Mike Tomlin made the decision, and the rest is history. But she wants to keep both. And to me, I think it's the same thing with Sam Darnold, and Justin Fields is even younger. If Justin Fields, like I think him sitting behind Russell Wilson, and then because Russell Wilson, what's the max? 2 years, possibly 2 more years of Russell Wilson. If Justin Fields is okay with being the number 2 to Russell Wilson again next year, because I do believe the Steelers bring Russell Wilson back, then I think that'd be a good succession. Let him continue to learn. He showed some flashes this year. Let him learn behind Russell Wilson, and then eventually, he takes over for Russell Wilson. But that's all about pride and money and stuff like that. Now, if he believes that he can be the man right now, then you have the same situation like you said with Sam Darnold, where I'm pretty sure he'll get some interest in some places, a chance to be the starter in some places. Could even be the New York Giants. We'll see what happens, but it's up to him. Now, if somehow we end up outside of the top 5, then the level of wanting Justin Fields skyrockets, because then we're talking about getting a guy. You're not going to get one of the top 2 quarterbacks. So you definitely need to get a more proven vet bridge quarterback in here, and maybe you take a chance with some of the, a later round quarterback, but it just depends. A lot of things have to play out. Shout out to my man Joseph Wilcox again with the $5 super chat. He says, when I saw Jameis Winston on Thursday, I said, wow, he looks good. Then he threw them picks. That's been his career, though. Yeah, that's funny, because I thought the same thing, because I was like, man, he looks good. And he did. And then it was back-to-back picks. Like you said, he back-to-back picks. It was bad. And that's Jameis Winston, the first guy to go 30 for 30, 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in a season. He set that record. And the funny thing is, he said the interceptions aren't him. He said that the interceptions aren't me. If interceptions aren't you, I don't know what is. And I mean that respectfully, because 50-50 that's Jameis Winston for sure. And you know what? Great character. I wouldn't mind. Now, the one thing about Jameis Winston is this: what he brings to the locker room as far as culture and being a leader. I would want that in New York 100%. The way people gravitate towards him, the way people listen to him, and he got all these gimmicks and he's funny sometimes. He's religious and all that other stuff, but people respect Jameis Winston in the locker rooms. If you've never heard anybody speak bad about Jameis Winston as a teammate, and I like the culture that you can see it with the Cleveland Browns. He's doing better than Deshaun Watson was doing, and making 1% of the money. But I like Jameis Winston, man. I thought about Jameis Winston last year as a bridge quarterback before we got Drew Lock, and you see what happened. Luann says, I love Dable. He needs to finish out his contract. He will bring us to the playoffs again. I hope so. If he comes back, I hope you're absolutely right. Listen, I talk now because everything is up in the air. That's something about me. My opinion is my opinion. Just like I'm talking how I'm talking right now about the New York Giants losing tomorrow. But tomorrow when that game comes on, best believe I'm going to be rooting for the Giants 100%. 100%. And now, right now we don't know exactly what's going on with Shane and Dable. I'm going to voice my opinion. I want both of these guys going. But if John Mara makes the decision, I got to roll with the punches. That's what you call a ride or die. That's what I'm doing. TP, I want both of them going. But if neither one of them goes, I might cry, shaking my head. Listen, man, we'll get over it. We'll definitely get over it. For sure. My man Bookend tackles. He says Ratledge is very good. That's the right guard for Georgia. Yeah, and he's also a nasty, mean type of offensive lineman that we need. We need one of those tough, nasty guys. We haven't had one of those guys since Nick Gates, and Nick Gates wasn't even all that good. But I love Nick Gates' attitude. Ever that first, I knew Nick Gates was a dog when he went after Aaron Donald. And he got face-to-face with Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald grabbed his face mask, and he grabbed Aaron Donald's face mask back. I said, yes, sir. And now get out of there before he kills you. Because that's definitely what would have happened. Said, I'll take Ryan Fitzpatrick before Fields. Good Lord. Good Lord. Winston is a great man. No, that's a fact. Touchdown Penn State. What's the score now? Is it tied? What's going on? See, listen. Yeah, I'm missing college football right now. So I love you guys if I'm sitting here watching missing college football, especially if the game is the way it is right now. But we're gonna keep this one to an hour. Try to keep it to an hour. What's going on, Hirsch? Says Bookend Tag said I love Gates. That's a fact. I love Gates. Shout out to my man Nova Nebula in the building. What's going on, Nova? He says, how many yards will Kamara run tomorrow? I got him at come on. Come on. I know you're not serious. Come on. What do you say? I mean what he did. He ain't Saquon. He is not Saquon, and that offensive line is not the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. But and you know what's crazy? Early in the season, I was pushing Kamara. I was, letting him get these yards, this many touchdowns, this many receptions, and he was letting me down on my parlays, and I just gave up on Kamara, man. And the one thing I shouldn't have done, like this year was the first year that I did not play fantasy football in a long time. So just imagine me dealing with only the New York Giants, no fantasy football, and just sitting in my sorrows all the time. I will definitely be playing fantasy football next year. I need something to root for on the weekends. And I don't want to just keep doing parlays. That gets expensive. Shout out to FanDuel. FanDuel, you see me here. I talk good about your sports book. Go ahead and holler at me. Let me get some sponsorship, FanDuel. 28-24 Oregon, thank you. What quarter? It's still second quarter, or are we in halftime now? Yeah, it's addictive. Fantasy football is addictive, man. I think the first time I played it was like 2014 probably. And I was playing every year. And then I was like, you know what? Wasn't doing it. Wasn't going to do it this year. I was so focused on like the channel and building the channel up and focusing on the Giants and thinking about that. It was too late trying to get into the draft. the fantasy league draft and stuff like that, I just gave up and said, nah, I'm not going to do it. I could have rushed and did it, but I just was like, nah, my heart wasn't in it. And then that was one of the biggest mistakes I made this year because I would have had something to cheer for. TP says, Dash, what you think about the New York Giants content creator fantasy league trophies and all? That's what I know. A couple of guys have that, like Big Pat and them have it. The Shakedown crew, they have it as well. There's a lot of guys that have it. A lot of different ones. Yeah, some paid ones too. So yeah, they already exist. But listen, man, I'm open for it next year, man. We can do our own thing for sure. I'm pretty sure everybody likes fantasy. I remember one year I had I played in like 5 or 6 different leagues, and that's crazy. When some people play in like 10 leagues, 15 leagues, I can't do that. Yo, listen, I appreciate everybody for giving me the updates, man. With how much time is left, we're definitely going to be off the air by the time they get out of halftime for sure, because I definitely want to see the second half, especially how interesting this is. And I need one more favor. Let me know how bad Clemson is whooping SMU, because when I last saw it was like 21 points that Clemson had put up. Let me know what that score is too, please. I appreciate y'all, man. Joseph says, I think that if we get Sanders award, we should sign Winston as a gap. Listen, eye to eye, man. Eye to eye. I'm with you with that. Absolutely. And you know what? Jameis Winston is in this part of his career where I believe, and I think he knows that he's almost like a Tyrod Taylor, where we bring you in because we can trust you, we can win some games with you, but eventually, the guy that we draft is going to take over. I think that's what I think Winston knows that right now. He might find lightning in the bottle, not this year with the Cleveland Browns, of course, but somewhere else. We'll see what happens though. But I love that idea. I'm absolutely 100% for that idea right there, because I know that a personality like Winston, with the rookie quarterback, he's going to do everything possible to try to help and guide that quarterback. We saw a situation where Ryan Tannehill was sitting here like, it's not my job to help the rookie. We've seen that before. No, I think Winston would be one of those guys that will give everything he can, to his teammate for the betterment of the team. And I like that. I like that. He said Tim McDonald needs to go. He's family. He's not going anywhere. He is the nephew of John Mara. He is not going anywhere. One thing about this organization, the family, they don't put family in the position of like general manager and stuff like that because they know they can get fired. And it becomes messy after that. So they put them in player personnel positions and stuff like that. They put them in those roles so they have a voice in those rooms, because Mara is always going to have a family member somewhere where they have a voice in the room, but they're never going to be like the general manager, because they know for a fact that things go left, they got to fire their family. So they will never put guys like that, in my opinion, as a GM, like Kevin Abrams, Chris Mara, stuff like that. Well, Kevin Abrams not family, but he's just been here for a long time. But I couldn't see Chris Mara being the GM for that reason, because then, if things go bad, John Mara would then have to fire his brother and stuff like that. And then also Chris Mara knows when John Mara no longer is the owner, whatever happens, you know what I'm saying, that he's next in line for that. Next in line. Roger says, what big name offensive line are going to hit free agency in the offseason? Right now, I don't know. I haven't looked at free agents yet. I've been so focused on the draft that I don't know. I haven't looked at free agency yet. So that's something else I got to work on. Trust me. When we get into that time, once the season is over and I get into off-season mode, all the stuff that you're asking me right now, I have answers for all that. I'll have full list of free agents broken down by positions. I'll have a lot of the draft stuff done by then, because I already started on my draft stuff. I'm right now, I think I am, and I lied to you guys last week when I said I'll break down like 25 people. I already have probably like 50 players done already, as far as research and watched and stuff for this, for this upcoming draft. I'm waiting to see who declares for the NFL and who goes back, because I think that a lot of these quarterbacks that people think are coming out, like Aller, like Nussmeier, I think those guys go back. We saw Connor Weigman already said that he's going to enter the transfer portal. He was another guy that could possibly be a day 3 guy. But yeah, man. But yeah, I got some time. Actually, not really. It's already December, so I got a little bit of time, but again, once we get into off season, I'm gonna be pumping out that kind of content. And I do plan on running the Saturday lives or Saturday streams throughout the whole off season. That way we can still meet here. Obviously, I won't be doing recaps of games because there won't be any games to recap, but I'm still going to be here for those Saturdays. That's the plan right now. Outside of when I'm going on vacation and stuff like that. So it is what it is. I saw that too. Riz the Great says Giant Saints tickets going for $7. I heard they're going for $7 and they're not even selling. That's what I heard. They can't even sell them 24/7. Okay, that's the SMU game. Okay, appreciate that. They're not even selling for $7. That is crazy, man. Nobody wants to go and watch that stuff in the cold. Joseph says, "Hey Dash, do you think T Banks will be all right? He seems lost." That's a good question, and my answer is this: styles matter, schemes matter. We see it with Bobby Okereke. We see it with Tay Banks. Obviously, Bobby Okereke has a lot more experience. He's been in the league a lot longer. But for Tay Banks, you drafted him for a specific reason, and that's for him to be a man press cornerback. We're not playing man press. We're playing zone. And I think if Shane Bowen, if this regime remains the same, if Shane Bowen comes back, Tay Banks does not fit that system. I'll say that. And then you might be looking to try to trade Banks, because I thought maybe that he could, adapt to the zone. But you saw him struggling this year. And I think that's the reason. I think it has a lot to do with scheme. The same thing with Bobby Okereke, even though he's on track to have, over 100 tackles still. You see he does not have the same impact as he did when he played in that wing system. So I think the system has a lot to do with Tay Banks as well. Also, he has to get his head around. He's still a little bit grabby. He still needs to clean a lot of things up. But I think the system doesn't help him as well either. That's a great question, though. Fighters Destiny says they got to give me more than $7 to watch that garbage. They got to pay you to come to the game, right? Forget you paying the $7. They need to pay you $7, get you a free hot dog, and a medium Pepsi, just for showing up. And the parking better be free, because that's the one thing. You pay $7. You pay $7 for the ticket. The parking gonna cost you $50, $60, $70. Like, what are we talking about? Now it costs more to park than to watch the game. Mickey X says, "Be careful out there, everyone. I had 2 Giant Saints tickets in my car and someone broke in and left 4 more. Yo, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. They left more. That's hilarious." Said, "I would love Vrabel." Yeah, that's the thing. I think, who was it? I think the Jets have shown some interest in Vrabel. Chicago is another spot possibly for Vrabel. I'm trying to go off memory now. Obviously, just while my eyes are closed, I'm trying to think about what I saw. Yeah, so the Jets were one. Chicago was another one. It was one other team too. I'm forgetting who it was. It's another team. I think the Raiders. Now. Antonio Pierce right now still has the job with the Las Vegas Raiders, but that's also a spot, in my opinion, that would probably be a nice spot for Vrabel. Man. My man Ramjay says Banks has to also quit trying to strip the ball and just make the damn tackle. That goes for a lot of people. But that was Wink's deal. That was Wink instilled that into these players in the secondary. He wanted you to go in there and try to punch the ball out. What you're supposed to do is whoever that first person is, you're supposed to be in there to make the tackle. That second person is the person needs to come in and try to strip or punch that ball out. But now you got guys trying to just hold on and punch the ball out. No. And it looks soft to me, especially because 99% of the time it doesn't work. And then you end up missing the tackle or getting dragged. And one thing about the New York Giants, if we got to get back to New York Giants ball, that's defense. We got to start hitting people. Like really, really hitting people. Like the way Phillips and Newman try to come in and hit people, that's what we need to do. It says Vrabel without the DC that we have now. Yeah. Fighters Destiny says Vrabel sounds good. Sick of hiring first-time head coaches. That's where I'm at too. I want a defensive-minded head coach too. That's why I'm so high on Vrabel too. I feel the Raiders will hire Pat as OC. Which Pat you talking about? Pat Shermer? Talking about Shermer? Listen, you know what's crazy? If the Raiders were to get Shedeur Sanders, it would be smart to bring in Pat Shermer as their OC. He knows him the best right now. And Pat Shermer was horrible as a head coach. The 2 times he was a head coach, he was horrible at it. But he has been a good offensive coordinator for sure. All right. I saw another score update. So 24-31, but it's halftime now, right? Yep. Shane Bowen was Vrabel's guy. Now, one thing I'll say about Shane Bowen is this. And another reason why I'm mad at Joe Schoen. Shane Bowen got here. We saw it on Hard Knocks. He told Joe Schoen and all the coaches, all the personnel guys, he told you what he needed. The New York Giants they wanted him to run that Tennessee defense. They wanted him to run that Tennessee defense, but he did not have the same roster as Tennessee. He didn't have the same type of players that they have in Tennessee. There's no Jeffrey Simmons on the Giants. There's not a Jeffrey Simmons on the Giants. It is what it is. You didn't give that man the players that he needed to succeed, and he's trying to run his system with the players that we have here, and it did not work. The only time it works is when he's playing outside of his scheme and blitzing. And I wonder why this team plays better when it's blitzing. Oh, because Wink Martindale spent 2 years as a heavy blitz defense. No wonder we look better when we run in the blitz. If these guys are back and Shane Bowen is back, he needs to readjust his system. He needs to either get the players in here that can run his system the way he ran it in Tennessee, or he needs to adjust his scheme to the players that we have on the roster. For sure. Shout out to Al. He says, love watching Big Dash on Saturday nights, especially before the Sunday game. This season was tough, but next season, Saturday Night Lives with Dash will be, listen, I hope so. It's a lot more fun when you're winning. When we're losing, I'm in here, I'm laughing and joking. I'm crying, laughing, crying, and doing all this other stuff. But listen, if we're winning, yeah, it's definitely going to be lit in here if we're winning, for sure. I can't wait to win. You know how much trash talking I want to do? I can't even talk trash the way I want to. Like some of you guys, I don't know how many of you guys were around in 2022, tuned into this channel in 2022. When we went on that run, I was ridiculous. I had all the swag in the world. I was talking all types of trash. Did I believe all the stuff I was saying? Absolutely not. But we were winning, so I was talking all that trash. It is what it is, man. I can't wait to be back on the winning side of things. Like my man Cop Pizzle say, I can't wait to be in the winning business again. We need to be back in the winning business. What's going on, Education Unpacked? Get Eberflus. Oh boy. Eberflus is what? In what capacity with the New York Giants? Eberflus. Oh man. What about Chip Kelly? Oh man. Can't do it. Can't play with him. Can't win with him. Chip Kelly, man. Good Lord. My man Bookend says, right now we just have the trash without the talk. That's a fact. The trash without the talk is hilarious. That's a fact. Hey, I might steal that, Bookend. I might steal that from you. The trash without the talk. I like that. I like that a lot. I might steal. It's stolen. I stole it from you, Bookend. I'll give you credit for it, but when I use it, I'll give you credit for it when I say it. I don't know when I'm gonna say it, but yeah, we got the trash without the talk for sure. That's hilarious. I like that. Education Unpacked says, has anyone counted the number of players that have left the Giants to have career years? Yeah. And guess what? Sports media reminds us every week too. And listen, I don't just watch Giants games. I watch as many games as possible. And yes, I've been watching the Philadelphia Eagles. And guess what, man? Yeah. A bunch of Eagles fans spun the block on me on Twitter. Back in June, back in June, we knew that Kelsey was retiring, and Cam Jurgens was going to be the new center for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And they were talking buku trash. And I said, you guys don't even know what you're going to look like without Kelsey. I said this back in June. These Philadelphia Eagles fans waited all the way to December to clap back. They didn't stand on business in June. They waited to December when the offensive line has already been solidified to come back and talk trash to me. And I let them have it. But that's crazy though. They didn't stand. They waited on almost, what's it, June to December? 6 months. That's how long they waited to spin the block on me. 6 months. They lucky I was still there. That's because I don't run nowhere. I stand on my business. NYG31 says, hope we get the number one pick so we can get Cam Ward. That's a fact. I like Cam Ward, man. I like Cam Ward. There was a poll out on Twitter. I think it was almost 1,000 votes or over 1,000 votes, and it was like 51-49. That was the split between Giants fan base for Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. It's that close. And I'm not mad at either one. My man said, I'm not a Giants fan. What are you a fan of, Satya? Whole Slate, Nadella. That's a hell of a name. What are you a fan? Who's your team? Just so we know. And I appreciate you stopping through. Make sure you hit that like button, either on the way in or the way out. I appreciate that. Listen, I appreciate that. Yeah, all trash. All trash without the talk for sure. I'm using that. Said Isaiah Rogers says, Big Dash, how would you feel about Frank Reich as a coach? I think he is a good coach with the experience. I think he is too. I think he got a bad rep in Carolina. That's just a bad organization. David Tepper is awful as an owner. And it was already publicized that he wanted CJ Stroud over Bryce Young. The Tepper pretty much vetoed it, said you're going to take Bryce Young, and we saw what happened. I wouldn't want him as a head coach. I wouldn't mind him being a coordinator. I want a defensive-minded head coach. And if I have a head coach, I don't want my head coach calling plays anymore. I've seen it happen now. I don't want to do it. I want my head coach to be able to focus on every aspect of the game, not just the offense, during the game. So that's where I'm at right now. NYG31 says the mistake we made was getting rid of Wink Martindale. I don't think we had a choice in the matter. As soon as because we saw the pressure at the end of the season. Brian Dable said, our expectation is to bring Wink back, and then he fired two of Wink's guys, and Wink didn't like it. He went MIA for like 3 weeks, and it is what it is after that. Like it was messy, man. And then some of the stories we've been hearing about it just like, listen, you can't have two people trying to run the show. And if Brian Dable is the head coach, he got to be able to say, you know what, this is my show, get out of here. And I think that's what happened. Now, do I wish everybody would have been able to live in harmony? Absolutely. But it just didn't happen, man. It just didn't happen. So NYG says Eagles are still trash with a 9-2 record. Oh, you're an Eagles fan. Eagles, yeah, man. Y'all spun the block on me, man. Y'all spun the block on me 6 months later. 6 months later. But good for y'all, man. Because listen, when Kelsey left, I said, oh man, this is fantastic. I said Dexter Lawrence is going to have a field day with Jurgens. Field day. with Cam Jurgens. There's no way that Cam Jurgens is going to be able. Whatever. And they spun the block on me. Solving the race problem says, do you see the Ward Sanders situation playing out like Young and Stroud? We will be on the right side of history. Will we be on the right side of history? I'm an Alabama fan, and I wasn't a fan of Bryce Young coming out. I did have Stroud over Bryce Young. And this situation between Sanders and Ward, it could be a similar situation. It does. A lot of that does, like Carolina was an awful place to go for Bryce Young. And we see now that the New York Giants have given Bryce Young his swagger back. He looks 10 times better than what he did before. I do think it's probably a close situation, but I think that both of these guys are going to be successful right away. I think Cam Ward will be successful where he is, and I think that Shedeur Sanders should be successful where they are, because Shedeur Sanders has a high floor. Cam Ward floor is not as high as Shedeur's, but his ceiling is higher than Shedeur's. So I think it's a good situation, man. But that is a good comparison. I'll say that. Do I see it playing out the same way? Not necessarily. We'll see who the teams are that pick them though. He brought in Coach Killer Wentz. Oh man. My man Joseph said, like I said last week, we got a lot of young talent. We should be better next year, and then some. Hoping. I hear you. My man Killer Cam 66 says, "Sup, Dad?" She said, "Hey, Locke is going to mess around and beat the Saints and Colts just enough to lose us Cam or Shedeur. Neighbors might be out though, so we might be all right." Outside of that, do you see the offensive line, Killer Cam? The offensive line and the lineup for this defense, ain't no way. But you know what? I understand why you feel the way that you feel, because it would be one of the most Giants things to do is to win these next two games and ruin our chances at a top pick, or a top quarterback, I should say. It is definitely a thing that the Giants would do, for sure. For sure. Saya says, LOL, I haven't talked any trash. And this Ramdre want to talk. Oh boy, Ramdre, you going at him? I'm not keeping up. Keep it respectful. Like of course. Now I will say this though. You're an Eagles fan in the Giants space right now. Of course, it's going to be hostile. Ramdre 81, talk your trash. You know how we do here. Just keep it respectful. Keep it respectful. But talk trash to him, because he still is an Eagles fan. Shout out to you, though, but you're across enemy lines, brother. I can only do so much. And you threw a jab, too. You threw a jab back with the 2-10. We know what the record is. We know what it is. You ain't got to do all that, man. What they tell you, wipe your feet before you step in the house. Here you go with the okay. Thanks, thank you, Giants. Stop. Pump the brakes. My man Benji, what's going on, Benji? Benji says this game is going to be so depressing because of the defense and the line. Yeah, it's going to be bad, man. It's going to be bad. Listen, Benji, because by the sound of that, I'm saying your tone and what you wrote there. To me, it seems like you might still have some faith in this season, because you said it's depressing. Do you hear my voice? I'm not worried about a thing right now. I've digested the season already. I already know what it is. We got to look towards the future, brother. Don't let the New York Giants depress you anymore. And if you still feel depressed, come hang out with your brother every Saturday, and and everybody in here, we'll get you through it. We will get you through this season. You're not alone. We are in this thing together. You call that an old line? That's a fact. It's not. It is not at all. There you go, Mo. Mo says Eagles going to lose in the playoffs anyway. I do believe that. I do think the Super Bowl. I think Detroit comes out of the NFC. Detroit right now, obviously we saw that game. It's a division game. Division games are always tough. Detroit is a different monster right now. I can't wait. I do think the NFC conference, depending on how the thing is laid out, I do believe it's going to end up being Detroit and the Philadelphia Eagles. But I like Detroit this year. I really do like Detroit this year. They look like a team that's on a mission. Now, the only thing that can mess Detroit up is the same guy that has them playing well, and that's Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, if it's fourth and whatever, he is going for it. I think last year he ruined their chances of going to the Super Bowl by not kicking the field goal and going for it and getting stopped. Nobody's going to tell me anything different. And I think that's the only thing that can stop the Detroit Lions. Maybe Saquon Barkley can too, but it is what it is. But yeah, I do think that the Detroit Lions are going to be the representative, the NFC representative in the Super Bowl for sure. But it should be, the playoffs should be very, very entertaining. Benji says, I just want to see how our young guys develop through the final stretch of games. All I really care about. Yeah, that's the same thing. I want to see Hyatt. I want to see. I saw the starting cornerbacks are going to be Hawkins and Stroman, is what Dan Duggan was saying. I do want to see Hawkins get some reps. Moorsau is going to be playing. Elijah Chapman, Jordan Riley going to be playing. I do want to see Bellinger again. Dosich, I don't know what his role is going to be, but I don't expect to see. I don't expect to win. I'm gonna just keep it 100 with everybody in here. I don't expect to win down the stretch, and I don't think that we're favored to win in any of these games either down the stretch. I was looking ahead, and I think we're already 13.5-point dogs to Baltimore. So it is what it is. This season is what it is. Deontay Johnson is not playing. I saw somebody put Deontay Johnson. He's not playing this week. I thought he was going to play this week. But it is what it is. But I want to see these guys. That's another player I want to see play. Again, Nubin, I want to see him to continue to develop. I want to. Can we luck around? Can we luck up? Is that a word? Luck up? Can we get lucky and possibly get a couple of interceptions just for just to get some, I guess. We got one. Can we get maybe two more than this? Can Nubin get one? Can I would love for Nubin to get one. It is what it is. Killer Cam says, true, the O-line is horrible, and they cut the emergency third-string quarterback. I saw that. Tim Boyle got released. Most Giants things would be for locking DeVito to get hurt and literally having – listen. If if Locke and DeVito were to go down and we don't have a backup quarterback, Brian Dable will be done as soon as the game is over. I didn't understand it either. I didn't understand it either that he cut him. Fine. I don't know if he got a chance to re-sign him to the practice squad. The whole point of the matter is, if both of these guys go down and you don't have a backup, knowing that could be the situation, because listen, DeVito's with the elbow, Jake Locke, who knows what can happen to him. Yeah, I don't even want to think about it. Actually, yeah, I don't even want to think about it, man. But that's something that could happen. It could play out that way. It wouldn't surprise me. It would piss me off though. NYG says, I hope the Lions destroy the Eagles, please. Listen, man. Yeah, that's that. Yeah. And listen, you guys know me, man. The team I hate more than any team in the world is the Philadelphia Eagles. Just do. Shout out to Eugene Sutherland. Again, Eugene, make sure you guys hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. He says, Saints fans here. Saints fan here. He said, I'll be out at the Meadowlands tomorrow. God bless you. Although it's dark times right now for my guys, always a good time in New York. And trust and believe, I always pull for y'all against the Beagles. Shout out to you, Eugene. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Even though you're a Saints fan, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe, man. Appreciate you for stopping by. Yeah, we didn't even talk about the game, the matchup. We're the Walking Dead right now, Eugene. The Giants are the Walking Dead. I do believe you guys do beat us tomorrow. I don't have anything bad to say about the Saints. I'm just hoping that the young guys, because we do have a young team, I'm hoping that our young guys get a chance to play. That's what I'm saying. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for the like. Appreciate it. Said Eagles 1-4 in Super Bowls. That's a fact. That's a fact. And we're 4-1. Said snap the ball and run for your life. Yeah, that's what's going to happen tomorrow, man. Snap the ball and run for your life. That's a fact. That's a fact. Listen. All right, man. We already 15 minutes past the hour. I'm going to wrap this thing up, man. And again, shout out to everybody that's in the building right now. I'm going to get these last couple of comments, and then we're going to shut this down. I do want to enjoy the rest of this game, this Oregon and Penn State game. But yeah. So Eugene, what Eugene says, Saints and Eagles got a lot in common with all these injuries and suspect management. We bonding through suffering. That's a fact. That's a fact. We got it. NYG says, I have a feeling we're going to win tomorrow. I just have that feeling. You know what? Before we leave, let me get some predictions. We're gonna end it with some predictions. And then hopefully everybody has a good night. And see you guys tomorrow. We'll still be doing the live recap. So hopefully everybody's tuning in for that. But yeah, let me get a couple of predictions. Let me get at least like 3 predictions before we get out of here. See what you got. Shout out to Joseph, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Have a good night too, man. Oh, you got your correction. You said 1-3. I don't see any predictions. Oh, there goes the first one. 10-9 Giants. Good Lord. 10-9 Giants. That says it all, man. I'll wait for another one, and then we're going to get out of here, man. And again, I do appreciate everybody for hanging out. So, you know what? That's perfect. I don't even know. Laugh out loud from Mo 2677. Eugene says 27. Saints 27, Giants 20. Listen, we ain't scoring 20 points, man. 20 points. You know how hard it is for us to get 20 points. Joseph says 21-20. Giants. NYG 31 says 17-16 Giants. So we're gonna end it on that, man. So again, Eugene, I appreciate you for stopping by as a Saint fan. Best of luck to you. Except for tomorrow. But good luck to you the rest of the season, man. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows Big Blue Nation. Let's go.